At Sierra, discover top workout gear at incredible prices, which might lead to another discovery. Your headphones haven't been connected this whole time. Awkward. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
Hi, I'm Chris.
And I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Fergal.
And we're from Movie Smash.
Comic book movies are having a golden age right now with the MCU.
Movies based on comics aren't necessarily a new thing, but they're a big thing.
Join us every other Tuesday on Movie Smash.
We explore these movies and find some hidden gems.
Every other week, we revisit some of the best.
And some of the worst movies based on comics or graphic novels.
Was Green Lantern as bad as you remember?
Heck no!
Is Time Cop the most accurate time travel movie ever created?
Absolutely.
Was Mystery Men way ahead of its time?
Should they be revisited? Should they be forgotten?
Join us on Movie Smash and find out. Listen wherever you find your fine podcasts.
Okay, everybody, welcome to the latest episode of All2ReelToo. My name is Michael E. Cullen II, and with me, as always, is
Sesame. I hired a blues band, not a Jews band in Carta. Don't cancel me. It's a line from a movie. It's not my thing. Yeah.
Yep. It's a line. Yep.
And
I think a lot of lines were done to write this script, but
lots of problematic things.
Yes. So, yeah. How you doing?
I'm doing. I'm doing.
Yep.
I feel a little bit delirious, a little bit like coming out of a fever dream. That sort of in and out consciousness things you get sometimes when you're half asleep. I wouldn't say half asleep. I'd say more quarter sleep or 30% sleep. It's one of those very specific zone of consciousness you have to be in to really quite understand a movie like this, which unfortunately I was not in a state. So
you got to get in the zone.
Got to get into the auto zone. Right? Yeah.
The auto zone, yes.
Yeah.
Who are not sponsors of the show, but if you would like to be, please contact me at mike@cullenpark.com.
Sure.
Okay?
We'll advertise your obviously car people listen to our podcast. I'm pretty sure. Our demographic really goes into like our
right up there with car talk with like click and clack or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. I used to listen to that every Saturday actually. For a long time.
A lot too. I didn't know.
I have no idea what you're talking about. But
they just had soothing voices. I like.
Yeah. Yeah, they did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
before we get started today, I just wanted to mention that I was recently on another podcast as a guest. I was cheating on Sesame. And I was on this podcast called Pop Culture Junkie with the hosts Shauna and Olivia over there. And we talked about me, because that's my favorite subject. And then we also... Joking. We also talked about the 1983 TV miniseries V, which if you haven't seen, I highly recommend. It holds up. It's scary how well it holds up today, and is very emblematic of things that are going on in our current society. Recommend watching that. But if you want to, I'm going to have a link in the show notes. But you go to popculturejunkie.com and you can find their podcast there. It's a good show. They do a lot of similar stuff to what we do. It's like two best friends talking about pop culture stuff, very similar to what we're doing. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I recommend checking it out, and that episode especially. So today on the show we covered a movie.
Technically it was put on film, and it was, I assume it was shown in theaters. I don't know, but the qualifications, it does have the qualifications for a movie. Yes, it does.
Yes, this is a 1983 film called Get Crazy. It was directed by Alan Arkush, who is a pretty well-known TV director as well as film director. He's directed a lot of TV shows, everything from like The Practice to NCIS to Nashville. He did direct the last directing thing he did was like a documentary about this movie.
Oh, wow.
Called Get Crazy, the After Party in 2021.
Wow.
He directed music videos for Elvis Costello and other people. Before this, he's most well known for, he directed the movie Rock and Roll High School.
Okay.
Which featured the Ramones and other people, and they directed a bunch of music videos for the Ramones. He also directed the Andy Kaufman movie Heart Beeps.
Okay, that's interesting.
Which is a very interesting movie. That's all I'll say. It's a movie we might want to cover. It has Bernadette Peters and Randy Quaid.
Oh my God.
Christopher Guest, among other people in it. Some of the people that are in this movie are in it too. And it's about robots. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And it's called Heart Beeps. We will check that out soon. If I can find it anywhere to watch, we will definitely want to cover that for this experiment in podcasting that we've been doing for 8 years or 7 years or whatever.
It's just we probably have surpassed like 90%. Like that one guy that interviewed us, I don't remember which way it was. The guy from Waco, Texas, would say that like 90% of podcasts only have like 7 episodes before they quit. So it's like we probably like surpassed like 90% of podcasts, which means, by the way, that you should support us more because we are like top tier level shit here, right? We are either dedicated or committed or should be committed. I'm not really sure what, but I was just thinking of that line from the Party Down where she's talking. He's like, I was on the set of Cannonball Run 2, and after the director says, you should be committed. Oh, God, I love her. Jane's their name, Jane something?
Jane Lynch, yeah.
Yeah, Jane Lynch. I love her so much.
So this movie was written by Danny Opatoshu, Opatoshu.
I'm not sure.
Henry Rosenbaum and David Taylor. Opatoshu wrote this movie and Student Teachers and Hollywood Boulevard.
Okay.
As far as movies go, and then some TV stuff. Henry Rosenbaum wrote for the Mod Squad TV show a movie called Hanky Panky, which starred Gilda Radner and Gene Wilder. We got some other stuff. Nothing to write home about besides Hanky Panky, really. And then David Taylor he was also a writer on Hanky Panky, and looks like a bunch of TV shows and like Kojak and stuff like that. And a bunch of TV movies and some movie called The Hunger, which starred Terrence Stamp. And so there's that. Yeah. Okay, so this movie stars a lot of people.
It's a big cast.
Yes.
Bigly
cast. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Malcolm McDowell as Reggie Wanker.
Yep.
Daniel Stern as Neil Allen, Alan Garfield as Max Wolf, Gal Edwards as Willie Loman, which I think is interesting because Willie Loman, she's a female character in this. Willie Loman is also the name of the main character in Death of a Salesman.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that was on purpose or what, but I just noticed that. Got Miles Chapin as Sammy Fox, Ed Begley Jr. as Colin Beverly, Stacey Nelkin as Susie Allen, Bill Henderson as King Blues, Lou Reed as Auden. I'm sorry, but it just boggles my mind that Lou Reed was in this movie.
Yeah, it was that was surreal. That his whole arc in the movie was very strange.
But
why didn't they just let him play himself? Why give him a fake name? I guess all the bands were fake.
Everybody has fake names, and some of them are, actual artists. And everybody did all their own singing and everything in this movie. So,
that's cool.
We had Howard Kalin as Captain Cloud, Laurie Eastside as one of the members of Nada.
I love that band. That was so.
Lee Ving as Piggy.
Yeah, that
Lee
guy.
Ving is best known as the frontman of the seminal LA hardcore punk band Fear. So
Okay, all right, that makes sense. Yeah.
we have John Densmore as Toad, as in one of the members of the Doors. John
Okay.
Densmore. Yeah.
Okay.
Anna Bjorn as Cantamina, Robert Picardo as O'Connell, the fire inspector. People may know him as the Doctor from Star Trek Voyager, among other things, but that's probably what he's most well known for. Singer Bobby Sherman as Mark, singer Fabian as Marv, Franklin Ajayi as Cool, and then there's lots of other people, including my former Facebook friend when I had Facebook, Dan Fishman. Dan Fishman as Joey, a young kid trying to lose his virginity who's kind of nerdy.
Oh yeah, that guy. Cool. Yeah.
He was on Head of the Class and stuff. And
right.
then,
Okay. Yeah.
and then went on to work with Dan Schneider on Nickelodeon shows, but I can't blame him. Can't blame him for anything that Dan Schneider did, because there's nothing has ever been said bad about Dan Fishman.
Well,
So, yeah.
Especially, I mean, God, in the early '90s. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, they met on Head of the Class, and then, Dan Fishman had a role on Kenan and Kel for years. So, yeah, there's a lot of other people in this movie, but yeah, including former guest of our show, Jeffrey Weissman, plays a concert audience member. I couldn't pick him out in the movie, but he's listed in the cast list here. So,
Okay.
yeah, he was a former guest on our show, former Facebook friend of mine when I had Facebook.
I hope they finally get that back to you. Jesus.
I really hope so. I'm in the middle of they've supposedly passed it up to the right people, and they'll get back to me whenever they get back to me. I mean, that could be tomorrow, or it could be 3 years from now, for all I know. But Jeffrey Weissman's a great guy, though, by the way. So yeah, just check him out. He was in Back to the Future 2 and 3 as George McFly, took over from Crispin Glover. Controversial recasting. Yeah, but anyway, so initial reactions here to this this motion picture.
The motion, like I said before, it's surreal. I liked parts of it. I thought it was funny, but it's just really, really weird, man. Like whoever, I mean, like, obviously there was very creative people, the ideas that they put in this movie.
Before we get too far into our reactions, I should probably read the Internet Movie Database synopsis.
Oh yeah, okay.
Colin Beverly plans to sabotage the New Year's Eve 1983 concert of small-time operator Max Wolf. Wolf's assistants Neil Allen and Willie Loman find romance while trying to save the drugs, violence, and rock and roll from Beverly's schemes.
Yep.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah, that's the whole movie. No.
So reaction here.
Oh man, like I said, surreal. Like, I almost wish, but probably not at the same time, that I was high while watching it. But I think it would really fuck me up if I was high while watching this movie. I think I would be scared and would not have enjoyed the experience in the way that
I'm probably not going to be able to afford it, but this has recently been released on Blu-ray.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Remastered. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. So I find that interesting. It's you can get it for $21.
It's not too bad.
Yeah, $18. Just depends on where you get it. If you're buying it used, but on the site that bald Lex Luthor looking guy owns,
yeah,
it's 1972 currently. So
it's not too bad. Yeah, I mean, I just thought it was surreal. I thought they had some pretty good ideas. Some of those ideas, while I would say were unique or at least creative,
yeah,
sometimes it felt, not always, but sometimes it felt kind of like just throwing spaghetti against the wall and just seeing what would work. So sometimes didn't even have a coherent. Then again, though, I guess it's not supposed to be coherent because it's supposed to be get crazy. That's the other thing too. The title is so basic. For a movie that was so creative, why'd they just settle for a title called Get Crazy? I mean, it just sounds, you know.
The poster for it says "Get crazy and say goodbye to your brain."
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It seems so basic. Like they couldn't have come up with something a little bit, or maybe the story behind that. Maybe the film company didn't want to use their real title or something. I don't know. But
yeah, there's a lot of interesting facts that I think we can get through talking about the movie and then talk about some interesting trivia to this movie afterwards. I think we can talk more about the trivia than the actual movie.
Yeah, because the whole movie takes place at the concert hall for the most part.
Yeah, I mean,
except for like a few scenes per there.
Like at least a third of the movie is just people performing on stage. So it's like,
yeah, the concert. That's the part I actually did like it though. That part about actually just having the concert.
Too, but there's not like really much you can say. It's like, oh, somebody's performing on stage. It's like,
yeah, I mean, other than just like giving the play-by-play of like what the singer's doing.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, that drum beat was really cool there. Or like, you know, or like, I mean, there was that one where he took like actual literal drumsticks from chickens and was playing the drums. That was kind of it. But
I mean, it's not like you could go see like, you know, the Eras tour of Taylor Swift and then just be like, yeah, the plot wasn't great. You know, it's just her singing. You can't.
Wait, man, what are you talking about? It's a concert.
Exactly.
Well, you know, it's the worst $3,000 I've ever spent. Well, okay, it's your fault, but.
Yeah.
You know what you're getting yourself into with watching an artist that you don't know anything about.
Mm-hmm.
Which reminds me too, I know it's kind of random, but all of these moms were livid with Sabrina Carpenter because their young daughters really liked her music because she used to be a former Disney star.
Yeah, she was on Girl Meets World.
Oh, okay. But
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
And some other shows, I think, too. But yeah.
Yeah, but the thing with Sabrina Carpenter is that she's very, very sexual, like in how she presents herself, and that it's like what she talks about.
Yeah,
it's, you know, so like whatever. I guess in a few of her concerts, she was, you know, simulating oral sex like behind a curtain, like she wasn't actually doing it, obviously. And so like all these moms were like, I can't believe I brought my daughter to this. It's like parents always blame anyone but themselves. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you should have got off your phone for 2 seconds, done some research on who Sabrina Carpenter is, checked out some videos or something like that, and then make the decision of whether or not you want to take your daughters to see your concert. But no, why do that? Because why be a parent at all anymore?
It's like the same people that were complaining about Barbie because it was PG-13 and went to the theater without checking to know that it is PG-13 and taking their like 6-year-olds to go see it. And you know,
it wasn't even that bad though. Like, I mean, Barbie
or even worse, the people that, you know, are big Marvel fans but took their kids to go see Deadpool and Wolverine.
Right.
Which is an R-rated movie, and didn't realize that it was going to be.
Which they advertise. They advertise it that was R-rated for so many months, like beforehand. You know, it's not. But yeah, I don't know why, but it just reminded me of that. Like,
and I mean, the thing is, it's like just because Sabrina Carpenter was on a Disney show when she was a teenager.
Right.
Doesn't mean that now that she's an adult, she has to continue being that person.
Well, it's like Miley Cyrus, for example. She went through a phase of being hypersexual.
It was the same. It was the same thing because I remember back when Miley started going solo off of the Hannah Montana thing. My niece, I guess I was going to say my niece's parents. I should probably say my sister and my brother-in-law. Wouldn't allow her to listen to Miley Cyrus, and then they stopped letting her even watch Hannah Montana because of that stuff. You know, it's just like so stupid. Like, you know, I get maybe not wanting them to listen to the more adult Miley, but
that makes sense.
You know, letting her watch Hannah Montana anymore is stupid because that's still pretty innocent. It's not, you know.
Yeah, I know. It's just it's just weird. But I forgot how did I even get on this? I like totally just lost my train of thought. Like,
I don't know.
Maybe like the drugs that they showed in the movie. Oh no, it's because we were talking about I don't know, who cares? Oh, you said Eras tour, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Eras okay. That's
but anyways, back to Get Crazy before we go crazy talking about other things.
Go crazy. Yeah. We're gonna go nuts in there.
Yeah, I'm okay. What was that? Anyways, so I I've got the Internet Movie Database page pulled up, and it's just randomly playing trailers for movies. And then there was this movie where it was, for some odd reason, it was randomly these women with like see-through blouses on, jumping up and down on some. I'm like,
What the fuck?
the fuck are they showing me?
Oh my god! It's probably just because it was like related movies or something like that,
Yeah.
or whatnot.
Maybe it was, but so the movie. What can you say about it? Like, what happens, sort of?
So it, like I said before, most of it takes place in the concert hall. There's this dude. His name is Max. He owns this pretty old theater that's, it's not like super successful, but it's enough to make some money.
Yeah.
And he throws this New Year's Eve concert every single year, and he wants this one particularly to be like the best one for some reason, which I'm not really sure why
It's
be like
a 13th annual one, so I don't know.
It just seems weird that you would do like a 10-year or like a 20-year, that a 13th year, whatever. Well, I mean, with 13th year, maybe Ted Nugent would get aroused from that, but like, anyway. But Mr. Morality guy here. But anyway, so good thing he wasn't invited. Otherwise, they would have hid their daughters, just like Sabrina Carpenter, but the opposite. Like, no, don't take them there. But you don't want them to get hurt by the.
No, but everything he did is okay because he's
of course
he's a Republican, so anything he does is okay.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Really true. Yeah. Anyway, so this guy named Max, he owns it. He really wants this to pop off, And then there's this dude played by Ed Bigley Jr. I forgot his character's name. He's like some rich dude who wants to buy his theater from him.
Colin Beverly.
That's right, Colin Beverly. And his two cronies who basically just like repeat whatever he says after he says it.
I mean, they're literal yes men. It's basically like, yeah.
And they all wear like white suits for some reason, which makes them look more stupid. And he offers him like $1 million. Like, hey man, I'm gonna pay you a lot of money for this. You don't have to do anything. You just give it to me and you'll get paid. And he's like, no, I will not sell this place or whatever. So then it becomes like this power struggle with the dude's nephew gets the idea that he wants to like inherit it because his uncle almost had like a heart attack after the confrontation with the dude, Alan. And so, but it turned out that he was fine. He just was having like some like a stomach attack.
It was basically like angina or something. Yeah, it was just nothing.
We learn, and he says a very unfortunate word. I'm not going to repeat. Later on. What's that?
What I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, I said the guy says a very unfortunate word later on about the food he was eating. I'm not going to repeat.
Oh, I remember
because it was a slur, definitely.
Okay.
And so the nephew dude, he's sort of like the assistant of Max. He's like the business dude. Like he's wearing a suit.
He's very sleazy.
Yeah, he's also kind of a dork at the same time. So that was sort of like a weird.
Yeah.
That was what kind of confused me a little bit about his character, because it was like he was playing like two roles. Like one is like a dorky nephew, kind of idiot, but then at the same time, like super serious, like business guy. Like,
yeah. Well, I think that sometimes go hand in hand. Yeah.
True. That's very. Yep, that's very true. Yeah. And so a bunch of bands get invited. It turns out that the doctor lied to him, which apparently I think that's like a violation of HIPAA.
Yeah.
Like he literally said, I'm letting him think it's much worse than it really is, so that he'll let them like a health scare. I'm like, dude, that's illegal. Like, you can't do that.
Well,
let alone just admit to it. You'd admitted to a crime to like multiple people as witnesses. Like,
but he's basically saying, this guy needs to eat healthier. So it's like,
well, I get that, but like, you can't. That's a crime. You cannot do that. You cannot like lie to your patient for whatever reason.
So doctors aren't supposed to do that?
Nope.
Oh,
nope, they're not.
So when mine told me I had stage 3 cancer and I really didn't, that was bad.
Yeah, that was very bad, actually. It's quite criminal. And so, like, then during the scene, they're like trying to steal drugs from the doctor's kit or whatever, but it's just like a bunch of bullshit, like aspirin and stuff. But then there's this weird, like, robot figure that shows up throughout the movie that offers them all kinds of different drugs, but like, who is this character? who is this guy? Who knows? Which
Is he
I have
real?
several questions. That's the other thing. He's real. I have several questions about this guy too, because if this guy shows up with like any kind of drug that you need, quote unquote, need in the moment, then what's the point of trying to steal drugs from the doctor's medicine kit if you could just rely on this weird robot dude with like red eyes or whatever, or like red eyes?
Because you don't know if you can always rely on him. Maybe someday.
The thing that every single time people needed drugs in the movie,
Yeah.
he showed up, and it was always the right drug. Like he knew the drug. Like it was like it wasn't even what the person wanted. He knew what they needed. That's how intuitive he was. He's like, this person might want cocaine, but what they really need is LSD. So he's like he cares about you that way. He's not just going to give you what you want. He's going to give you what you need.
He's the one you call.
So if you need cocaine, he'll give you.
He's the one you call Dr. Feelgood. He's the one that makes you feel all right.
You know what's really weird about this too? I'm starting to wonder if this movie inspired an actual online character that's like kind of like become like a meme at this point. It's called the Hat Man, and it's like people who take way too much Benadryl on purpose, like to like have like weird like delirious symptoms, which again is like terrible for your body if you can actually hurt yourself real bad.
Oh my god!
What?
Yeah, I've never heard of the Hat Man, but I just looked him up, and yeah, he definitely looks like that.
That's what I'm saying. I wonder if this, because he shows up with drugs, and the people are kind of like already in a sort of like delirious state. I mean, if it's a coincidence, then it's a wild coincidence. Because I've even heard him described as having red eyes sometimes as well. So
yeah. That's what I'm
pretty sure that's where the first person, because like I think it started with someone writing on a forum about drugs, like either like Arrowhead or something like that, which people like they kind of like chronicle like their drug experiences. It's actually really good website, but and I think that was like one of the first ones where someone mentioned like they saw this guy in a hat that was like just standing like by his bedroom doorway, just like staring at him or whatever.
Yeah, because he
called him
wears a fedora like the guy. Yeah, it's just interesting. Yeah, and it says.
Interesting.
Hat Man dates back only to the early 2000s, so it's like interesting. I don't know.
So I'm starting to wonder if the person who came up with this either had maybe seen this movie before and he just sort of like hallucinated what he'd already seen, or maybe he just came up with it like it didn't even happen, or like
just weird coincidence, maybe. I don't know.
Very well could be a coincidence, but it's just I was thinking that when I was watching these scenes, because he shows up about 3 times in the movie, I think, and he always offers them drugs for some reason than yours, and anyway, it doesn't really matter, but he gives them drugs because apparently they need drugs to work, which, okay, that's a little bit dicey, but fine, because if you find yourself to the point where you need to do drugs in order to do your work, that's probably not a good place that you're living in right at that moment. You might want to, maybe not take drugs. But it's weird, though, because they actually like the job that they're doing. So they're not taking drugs. So what they're doing is actually worse, because it actually could lead to even worse addiction. So they're not taking drugs to numb themselves from a job they hate. They're trying to amplify, no pun intended, the joy they get from the work that they're doing, which that's even worse because you're getting extra euphoria, and then your body's and brain's going to crave that even more, Yeah,
I mean, this was the people that made this movie based a lot of it on their supposedly actual experiences that they had when they were working at the Fillmore East in New York City, which was in the 60s, which there was the Fillmore West and the Fillmore East. Fillmore West out in Los Angeles, and but like the Fillmore East was in like New York, and it was like a kind of like a venue where a lot of people, famous, rock stars played and stuff, that was run like this sort of kind of rinky dink.
Right.
Now the name Fillmore is used on a bunch of different venues throughout the country.
Even though it's not really the real Fillmore. Cheaters, liars.
And it's like, and I guess the character of Max is like loosely based on Bill Graham, who like ran the Fillmore East.
Okay.
Yeah. And then he also, and then there was the Fillmore West. I guess he had something to do with that too. So yeah, I don't know. I used to know this shit, but I don't remember. But but like people like Hendrix and Cream and Fats Domino and the Kinks and John Lennon and Yoko Ono and Zappa and the Allman Brothers and Grateful Dead and a bunch of other people played at these places. So yeah, it's
Yeah,
like, you know,
yeah. Stevens played one of them.
Mhm.
I'm not
I
sure
mean,
which one.
yeah, and there's
Yeah.
still, I mean, it's now
It's
an Apple Bank branch from where East is.
God damn it. Not the Apple, like the movie, right? But like the Apple
No,
phone company.
and I don't think it has anything to do with like Apple, like the computer company or anything either. So it's
Oh, okay.
it's
Yeah, I don't know.
just a Apple Bank is like a Apple Bank for savings. It's a savings bank headquartered in Manhasset, New York,
Oh my
operating in the
God.
New York metropolitan area. So
Yeah. Just torch. No, don't torch it.
Yeah.
So a lot of crimes take place in this movie, as a lot of movies we've reviewed lately do, which is for some reason. So, copious amounts of sexual assault, harassment take place, obviously. 1983 movie about why not? Violence takes place, physical violence, or well, I guess lieutenant violence, but
Yeah.
non-sexual violence also occurs via punching, kicking, pushing, hitting. Although sometimes the punching and kicking are self-defense, so I guess that's okay. Don't need to worry about that. But like
sometimes they're self-inflicted, like
sometimes self-inflicted. Yes,
character Piggy just like to hit his head a bunch of different shit, you know. So
here the very strange character named Piggy, which I'm still not really convinced. Like I don't really understand what his deal was, to be honest. But
Yeah.
like, okay, he this weird dude from an all-female punk band that sounds suspiciously like the Bangles and like a few other all-female bands.
Like he was, you know, and he was a special guest there, and I mean you know, he's the lead singer of Fear, so
that's what I'm saying. Like when he did his song, I was like, okay, obviously this guy's in the punk band. Like no one can just do that on the fly. Like, you know what I mean? Like obviously that's what he does, you know. And but yeah, they got him, like they literally like tie him up. So that's abuse. That's forced. That's what we call it. Capturing where you're not allowed to, like, what's the word for it? Where it's like illegal arrest or something like that, where you're not. So technically, they committed the crime by, you know, detaining him for no apparent reason, chaining him to like a pipe or whatever. So I'm pretty sure that's not legal. And they put a gag in his mouth.
Yeah, so I mean, the Fear is an interesting band. I mean, they gained prominence in the 80s and stuff, especially after an appearance on Saturday Night Live in 1981, because John Belushi was a fan of them.
Oh, wow.
He wasn't even on the show anymore, but he convinced the producers to put them on there, and they weren't even really well known. Like they were, like nobody wanted to put them on the show, but Belushi said to do it, and they did it. And then, you know, and then, he was, and the group is like interesting that after the, what was it like, Belushi had originally offered Fear a song on the soundtrack for his final motion picture Neighbors. The film producers eventually forced Fear off the project, and Belushi got them the infamous SNL gig as compensation.
Oh my God, wow.
And so the band's appearance included a group of slam dancers, among them Belushi and Ian MacKaye of Minor Threat and Fugazi. So,
awesome.
Yeah, so anyway.
Yeah, so this guy, his character name is Piggy. The girls, they literally have him in a trunk, so that's also a crime because they're forcibly taking them to a place against his will in a hot car. Well, not hot, because I guess it's New Year's Eve, but whatever. But minimal airflow, which could cause severe problems when it comes to breathing, which could be either forced breathing and or death from it, so that's a crime. Again, detaining him through chaining him to like a pipe, gagging him. That's a crime. I think a few times they slapped him. Another crime. You know, but hey, you know, it's totally cool because they're like an all-girl punk band, right? So you can just do whatever you want, I guess. The doctor, so-called doctor, which I'm not even convinced he is a doctor at this point. He came back to the concert after doing an open heart surgery that he was late to. Because he was there lying to his other patient. So I'm not sure how the other procedure went. He had a bunch of blood on his coat that he went, I guess, so he didn't even change. No. He just went straight from the operating room, apparently, and just traipsed over to the concert hall, with, no, and then but then he puts the stethoscope to one of the women's breasts, who she's like, I guess one of the people who works on the soundboard or something like that, or they're like announcing. I don't remember what she does exactly, but she does something with like that, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not doing anything. I'm just trying to check your heartbeat or whatever." Like, and so she punches him, which is fine. It's self-defense. It's not a big.
Yeah.
Who cares? And drugs. Obviously, drugs is a crime. Multiple drugs are being just proliferating throughout this entire concert hall. Minors might be in presence, so they're having access to drugs, but potentially. So that's corruption of minors, so that's another crime. Also, there was a part where one of the singers of one of the bands was acting somewhat sexual to one of the guy's younger sisters, who was presumed to be a minor. So that's another crime, realizing a minor in front of an audience, which that gets like some Drake vibes. A little bit there, maybe some Ted Nugent vibes.
Do you want a breakdown of all the artists that were in the movie? The characters of the artists like that performed. I've got.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so Captain Cloud and the Rainbow Telegraph, Max Wolf's favorite band, is a spoof of Strawberry Alarm Clock, which is a band that existed, arriving in an aging bus that is painted a la the Merry Pranksters and the Ken Kesey group of like LSD people from back then. So Nada, which is Lori Eastside from Kid Creole and the Coconuts, and her 15-member band, a spoof of girl groups like the Bengals and the Go-Go's, as you were saying. And then the special guest was Piggy. You've got King Blues, the King of the Blues, played by Bill Henderson. He's a spoof of Muddy Waters, and to a lesser extent, Bo Diddley and B.B. King. And you got Auden, played by Lou Reed, metaphysical folk singer, inventor of the 70s, and antisocial recluse, a spoof of Bob Dylan. I guess that's what it was. Like they even when you first are introduced to him, it's like the room he's in and everything looks a lot like a Bob Dylan album cover. So then you got Reggie Wanker, who is 20 years of rock and roll and still on top, is a spoof of Mick Jagger featuring his drummer Toad, played by John Densmore of The Doors. So yeah, that's it. And then so that's basically where the kind of spoofs came.
It's just his character was very interesting. Reggie Wanker.
Yeah, so
which is weird because he's British,
movie.
So you get it, Wanker.
Yeah, Reggie Wanker. Yeah. Mick Jagger, Reggie Wanker. I guess I could say it. Yeah. It's funny too because with this whole SNL kind of connection to a lot of things that we've been saying here. When Malcolm McDowell hosted SNL, he did a sketch on there playing Mick Jagger. So, yeah.
Wow.
I know that off the top of my head. I didn't even have to look that up. I just remember watching it as a kid on Comedy Central. So, wow. Yeah.
Yep.
So, basically, we got this thing where there's this kind of this former assistant comes in who's a female named Willie, and and Daniel Stern's Neil Allen is attracted to her. So we got this whole thing, but anytime he's having these images of being attracted to her, it's like a Tarzan and Jane sort of thing.
Yeah, it's weird.
It made no sense. So
it didn't. They're just trying to throw anything they can. Yeah. So he's got the fantasy stuff going on. The Joey kid, he's always trying to get laid. He finally does at some point in the movie. Which, hooray, yay,
He gets.
Cool.
We don't have to necessarily go in order here. He gets laid by the girlfriend of Reggie Wanker. So yeah.
So mind you, Reggie Wanker is having sex with maybe 15 women at the same time, and then so she ends up having sex with Joey. And then he acts like he's all betrayed. Dude, what fuck? And so he sings this song all sad about, being a star or whatever. I'm like, dude, you just fucked 15 women. And then your girlfriend's having sex with one guy. How, what? And she only did it because she knew what you were doing. So she did it to kind of take you back a little. Not 100%, because she was already kind of. Yeah.
But then the sex is so good, she ends up asking Joey to marry her. So it's like.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Even early on, she was somewhat flirting with them. So it wasn't like it was like a complete thing that came out of the blue or whatever. But still.
So, and we've got this situation where at one point Max, not Max, I mean his nephew. What's his nephew's name?
I don't remember. Doesn't matter.
Sammy. Yeah. So he's trying to get this signature from Max to transfer the Saturn, which is the theater, the lease to him before midnight, so he can get the $1 million from Colin Beverly. But at one point the drug robot puts some kind of drugs in the water. What do they call those? Water
cooler, maybe.
Yeah. Puts it in the water cooler, and like everybody's getting basically buzzed from whatever it is, like probably some kind of LSD or something in there. And the fire marshal who's going around putting out fires everywhere gets all crazy because he drank some of the water after getting knocked out. And so did and so did what's his name? I forgot his name already. Sammy. He gets Sammy gets all crazy and becomes like a hippie because of it. So
mind you, all of this takes place within like a 4-hour time span.
Yeah.
Obviously earlier in the day when they were still setting things up.
It's all it's within less than 24 hours, so it's just crazy. There's a few like hiccups here and there, and there's the Beverly's people before the whole LSD thing happens with Sammy. They convince him to put this bomb in the theater, which they tell him it's just a stink bomb that'll it's not going to hurt anybody. But we find out later it's an actual bomb that's just there's like hundreds of people in this place, and it's just like, okay, yeah. So they got to stop the bomb from going off, because you got to have some kind of stakes in this movie. I don't know what else happens.
Oh God! Well, the blues guy, typical of, I don't know if they did this on purpose to make a statement or not, but you have two white bands covering the black blues guy's song, probably not paying royalties to him. So you had the punk band, the dude with the piggy guys.
A la Led Zeppelin and the Rolling Stones and a bunch of other people that stole blues music and didn't pay them. Anyway,
Led Zeppelin's first album, the original pressing, didn't even give credit to the actual artist, let alone paying royalties.
It didn't for years. It didn't for decades.
They had to do it. It's like, wow. You couldn't even have the decency to just name the artist.
And I mean, I know this is a hot take and everybody's going to be mad at me. I think Led Zeppelin is one of the most overrated bands in history.
You're not that. I mean, okay, some of their albums are really good, but as far as
good, don't get me wrong. And I went through a whole phase where I thought they were great, but after finding out that they stole a bunch of this music and stuff like that, I just don't think they're as big as they should be. As great as they should be. Or whatever. What I just said.
Led Zeppelin 3 is a really good album. Houses of Holy is a really good album. Mm-hmm. But their fourth album, Stairway to Heaven, it's okay-ish. You want another hot take? I don't even particularly like Stairway to Heaven that much of the song.
Yeah,
I just don't. I don't. It's like moody. It's like I don't know, something about the chords.
And the music was stolen too.
That's the other thing too. Well, that one's haven't been quite proven, but if you listen to the original song by Spirit, we're like it's a whole new conversation we're having. But Spirit used to play gigs with them, so this was not some this was just
stuff. Yeah, so it wasn't like an accidental thing. But
exactly. Spending time with this band for months on end. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, anyways, anything else that we need to talk about? Oh yeah, there's this whole running thing with Auden, the Lou Reed character, where he's traveling to the show and he's trying to write a song because he's so moody and Bob Dylan and or whatever. He ends up he's taking a cab to the place and he tells the guy to take the scenic route, and the guy's really taking the scenic route because he's going through the desert and all this other shit to get to the theater.
The desert in New York City.
Well, this is Los Angeles.
Oh, Los Angeles. Sorry.
Yeah,
it's
the Fillmore East that it's based on took place in New York, but this is actually happening in Los Angeles because that's where they filmed the movie. So, yeah. So there's that. But they end up stopping the bomb. They find it, and eventually Auden gets there, but it's after the concert happened, and everybody left, and the Daniel Stern's character's little sister was there. She like a big fan of Auden, and so he plays the song for her alone at the end. And it's a song about a little sister.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And that Lou Reed actually wrote for this movie and performed.
Yeah, she wrote for the movie.
He wrote the song. Yeah, he performed it. Yeah.
It's
Lou Reed.
It's Lou Reed. Lou motherfucking Reed. So you want to get into the facts then? Because like the movie, I'm still like my mind is all over the place trying to remember every little thing that happened.
So here's some of the trivia that I found about this. Okay, so in a deal reminiscent to the one in the Mel Brooks movie, The Producers, shares were sold of the film to a Wall Street tax shelter group, effectively meaning that it didn't need to be released and was designed to lose money so that others would make money.
Oh my God.
Director Alan Arkish learned this during filming and was thoroughly demoralized by it. Knowing that
they're going to movie.
So basically, they were just basically, the movie was supposed to be basically like a tax write-off.
Wow.
And so he was demoralized by it, knowing that he was making a film that no one would see. I mean, it did end up coming out. There's another thing that happens in the script in the movie that I forgot about. Towards the end of the movie, Reggie Wanker's little wanker starts talking to him.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yep. Watch that reminded me. So there was this movie or a TV show where Sebastian Stan played. It was like, I don't know if it was on Hulu. It was Pam and Tommy or something. It was about the stealing of the sex tape of Pam Anderson and Tommy Lee.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, and in that movie, his penis talks to him too.
Oh my God.
And I guess this was based on something in a book that Tommy Lee had written or whatever. And Jason Mantzoukas, who people will know from a lot of things like Brooklyn Nine-Nine and The Good Place and stuff, and from the podcast How Did This Get Made, he voices the penis in that movie, in that TV show. Yeah. So yeah, but when I watched this, I'm like, is this where they got this idea? So
yeah, maybe. I mean,
yeah. So yeah, but anyways, so Malcolm McDowell didn't read the whole script when he accepted the role. When he arrived for filming, he was shocked when another actor asked him how he planned to play the conversation with his penis.
God, he's like, wait, what?
Yeah. Alan Arkish also directed a music video for Bette Midler's cover of the Rolling Stones' "Beast of Burden," apparently on the same set as this movie. The video featured Mick Jagger in a walk-on appearance. Three members of the punk band Fear appear in the film, in addition to Lee Ving, who played Piggy. Durf Scratch was a member of Reggie's band, and Philo Kramer was a member of the Jews/Blues band.
That's right, I forgot about that.
Yeah, we forgot to talk about that. They were supposed to hire a blues band, but a Jews band strode up, which was a band of a bunch of people who were stereotypically Jewish. Yeah,
very much so. Yes.
I mean, the director's Jewish, so I don't know if it's okay that they did this kind of stereotypical, slightly anti-Semitic stuff. But anyways, yeah.
I mean, it was 1983. I mean, yeah, it's like,
the movie's director Alan Arkish wanted to make the film in a realistic terms, but couldn't get the funding for such a movie. However, when the film was configured as it was kind of like they wanted to do an airplane kind of spoof movie, like the movie Airplane, which which is why this movie's kind of weird like it is. Everything fell into place, and he wasn't too thrilled about this, as his previous film, Heartbeeps, also a comedy, had been a big flop. So he didn't want this movie to be a comedy. He kind of wanted it to be more like a realistic movie. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, unfortunately, when something takes off in a certain way, it's you kind of at that point really have no control over it. At a certain point, it's like it morphed into like its own thing. So you're kind of like, fuck, like, like I can't do anything about it now. Like,
random. This is a random thing that I don't know what it is, but Alan Arkush's Dreamcast had included Mariska Hargitay, Jerry Orbach, and Tom Hanks. Didn't say roles, but I think it's funny that two of the people are like Law and Order people, and then Tom Hanks.
Then yes,
yes,
yep. Let's go with that.
Yeah, I'm assuming maybe Tom Hanks would have been the Daniel Stern role, and Mariska Hargitay would probably have been the love interest.
Okay, I could see that, but I'm glad that Daniel Stern got it because he seems like the better.
Susie is on the phone talking to her brother Neil, and she has a Ramones T-shirt on, and the Ramones were featured in Rock and Roll High School, the previous movie of Alan Arkush's. I think it's weird that the Ramones didn't show up in this movie. They would have been,
that would have been a good, it would have been real cool.
Yeah. So, both Rod Stewart and Elton John turned down the role of Reggie Wanker.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah,
I'll be for the best.
It was originally the film was initially conceived as a period piece set in the past. Pat Boone had turned down the role of Colin Beverly, which went to Ed Begley Jr. Dr. John turned down the role of Captain Cloud. I guess an actor named Russell Mael was originally cast in the role of Reggie Wanker, but Malcolm McDowell replaced him. An article published in September of '82 issue of LA Weekly reported that the original actor cast wasn't coming across well on camera. So
okay,
that's pretty much it.
Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah. This movie's kind of mixed reviews, so a lot of people
I liked it. It was weird, but I kind of liked it,
I mean, it really just reminded me of something I probably would have watched at late at night on like Cinemax or something, as a kid. I don't know. I mean, it was decent.
All right.
Yeah. So, any other thoughts on this?
No, not really. It's too much going on to really like have too many thoughts about it.
It's too much of a fever dream to have thoughts on it.
There's so many things that happen in such a short time span with like multiple characters and plot points, and it's just you can't really like unless I was taking notes, but I'm not. I don't do that really hardly. I probably should, but.
Yeah, I didn't really take any notes on this one. I sometimes do, but so folks, thanks for listening here. Hope you enjoyed this. If you find it within your heart to support us, check out our website, all2reeltoo.com. There's links to our TeePublic and I'm working on some t-shirts. Maybe I'll do a drug robot t-shirt or something.
Yes. Drug robot, yes.
Yes. Who knows? If I can legally do it, we'll see. Coming soon, I do have, I'm in the works of an orange Julius Caesar shirt. So from a previous, so check that out. Yes. We also have some, regular t-shirts with our logo on it, help support us. Also, we got our Patreon there. There's different tiers you can join on there. Not tiers like crying tears, but like other types of tears.
Oh, no, that is, yeah.
We don't want anybody crying, unless you have to. There's nothing wrong with crying.
We have to,
Yeah, sometimes you got to cry, especially in this day and age. And, check that out. Give us a 5-star review wherever you can, like on Apple Podcast or Spotify or Pocket Cast or doop cast or whatever they have, that's probably not a thing. I'm just making that up. But yeah, wherever you're listening, if you can give us a 5-star review, do it, or a thumbs up review or whatever they give you to do. Spread the word on the social medias. We're on some of the social media too. We're, you can check out our website and it's got all the links to that stuff. Do it. Just, do it. Be good to each other. Mm-hmm. Just remember that I love you. We're a Jews band, not a blues band.
Yep,
Sesame loves you.
I do.
Yes. Trans lives are human lives.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say trans people love you. I'm pretty sure they do too.
Oh, yeah, they do. If you love
Mhm.
them. If you're not an asshole who thinks that they should not exist, like, a large percentage of this country, sadly.
I mean, they might love you, even though you're a terrible person, but, that's
yeah,
a other...
yeah. I can't speak for all of them because I'm not even one of them. So,
That's true. you can speak as an ally. You just decide, you know what? I am now the spokesman for
Yeah.
trans community. Deal with it.
no, but yeah. Well, like I was saying, trans lives are human lives.
Yes.
Black lives matter.
Yep.
No human is illegal.
Yeah, it's true.
Yes.
Palestine. Free Palestine.
Fuck
Yep.
the robber baron fascist patriarchy that's running our fucking country.
Robert Bear. That's a good one. I like that.
That's what they are. I don't like calling them billionaires anymore because they didn't really earn the money.
That makes it sound like they did it honestly, and it's no. Like, it's like...
So, but be good to each other, folks.
Yep.
We have to care for each other because no one else is. And
yeah.
I'm sad. And until next time, bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to All2ReelToo podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Hawes. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.